happening, Navi Times? What's up, Navi Times? Welcome. We got a few minutes before we get started. I don't know if anybody can hear me good. Let me just make sure I put my... Hey, I'm connected. Awesome. Yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Friday, y'all. We are going to be talking about some very important things today. Hey, Winter, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm just waiting a few minutes. I have 2 minutes before I get into the nitty-gritty of our exciting topic for tonight. Everybody's like, what are you talking about tonight? That sounds like too much like a science class. And I'm like, look, you know, we're simple but complicated beings, so we need to understand. How you doing today, Winter? You good? Can you hear me okay? Am I clear? Tell me. Hey, Gordo. What's going on, Marcus? Happy New Year. Does everybody hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if you do. Awesome. Thank you. Perfect. What's up, Irby? How are you? Welcome. Thank you so much for everybody that's in here right now. I appreciate you. I'm so happy you are tuned in to the Maximize Your Wellness time on this lovely evening, Friday. Perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know you can hear me, because I know there's some music in the background, and I was just a little afraid that I would kind of like overwhelm me and what I have to say, or just even hearing me talk. So I'm glad that it's not happening and it's fine and you hear me. Awesome. Well, have a good trip to Trader Joe's. Thanks for jumping in before you go. That's awesome. Get me some raspberries while you're there. I love it. So it is 8 o'clock, and thank you for tuning in to Maximize Your Wellness. Yeah, I am in an action-packed spot, but we're gonna make the best of it because, you know, we're in Overthrow Boxing Gym right now, located on Bleecker Street in Soho. So if you don't know, definitely follow them, and maybe possibly if you're in New York area, join them for a boxing class, or just if you want to come hit the bag, you could do that too. But like I said, thank you for joining me. Today we have an interesting topic. I know it sounds crazy. Alpha lipoic acid. We're like, Monique, what the hell is that? Like, why did you choose that for a topic? But I definitely want to make sure everybody's enlightened and everybody understands their body. And I didn't always understand my body, and I'm still learning. So this is an opportunity to help you understand why certain things are important, certain antioxidants are important. Why is it important to not be afraid of understanding what wellness is and understanding what alpha lipoic acid is? Thank you, Winter. Exactly. That's the way I always like pronouncing it, making it into a song or poetic, right? So yeah, what is it? Why are we talking about lipoic acid today? Why are we talking about all these things that matter for our wellness? I think that, as mentioned before, you know, this is actually one of the first ingredients in Cellgevity. So it's sort of like a continuation of what I did on Tuesday. And I know there were some people that weren't on here, that are not on here now, that were asking a couple questions about it and stuff like that. So here's an opportunity to honestly get to know one of the ingredients, one of the 12 synergistic ingredients that I mentioned on Tuesday. So I figured, why not show people and explain like what exactly that is and what it does and why is it so important. So as we all know, fiber and vitamins and minerals are so important for our bodies, right? Like, this is what we practice and preach and what we need to actually have a functioning body at its highest potential. So, there's chemical compounds that we call antioxidants. As you know, we've all been talking about this. And as I mentioned, the first episode that I did was actually glutathione, which is the master antioxidant of the body. So I'm pretty sure everybody knows what like antioxidants are. But our favorite friend tonight is alpha lipoic acid. So here we go. So, which is our topic for tonight. And I think that, like I said, don't be afraid. If anybody saw my reel, I said, don't be afraid. So as we discuss, there's many benefits that various antioxidants have that are high in antioxidant foods. So like, I know some people get caught up in wanting to just take a pill, but there's a balance to it, right? There's a balance game that we have to play with, considering taking supplements, but also making sure that you're actually eating the foods that are high in antioxidants that can also help you with what we're going to discuss and why alpha lipoic acid is so important. So if you didn't know, alpha lipoic acid fights inflammation. It helps beat cancer or heart disease. It wards off depression and cognitive decline, and so much more. So, for some of us that have obviously experienced a hard 2020, dealing with some of the major things that our country has undergone, who wouldn't want any help warding off any sort of depression or cognitive decline? Some of us have experienced some form of cognitive decline after everything we've gone through this year. So, there's a few benefits that I can mention about alpha lipoic acid. But I'm sure you're probably wondering why this is so important and what exactly antioxidants are and what do they do and how do they work in our body. So that's where I wanted to discuss tonight, like the benefits of alpha lipoic acid and the kind of antioxidant it is. So basically, it's a compound that we find in foods, and actually that is something that we can reproduce in our body, but is not a lot of it. So this is why having a balanced eating plan that actually contains high antioxidant foods is going to help you produce it in your body. So as you know, some of the familiar foods I would say that have alpha lipoic acid is broccoli and spinach. And if you didn't know, broccoli is actually the non-dairy calcium or the non-dairy bone builder. And I guess for all of us in this realm of life, right, we're trying to figure out like what are some of the alternatives that we can consider other than drinking a bunch of milk, which is what our nice, Food Drug Administration food pyramid has provided with us. But it has obviously failed us in a lot of different ways because it doesn't address us in an ethical or ethical, but also ethnical way in terms of like what, depending on what our ethnicities are, what we should be eating and consuming. So that's something we've discussed in the past, and we continue to want to bring awareness to that because that is very important. So, I guess the coolest part, if you didn't know about alpha lipoic acid, is that it actually scavenges free radicals, and it fights inflammation and slows the aging process. Like, hello, the aging process? I'm sure everybody wants to slow that down. But as you know, there you go. It slows down the aging process. All of us need that to happen, and we could reverse some years of our life, then whatever it is that we need to do, we're gonna eat it. But the most famous thing it's known for is actually treating diabetes naturally. So when you think about it, how many of us have actually have had maybe a close call, possibly being borderline diabetic, or actually having somebody that is like a family member that's suffering from diabetes and that can't seem to get a hold of it, well, here's one ingredient that's one of the synergistic ingredients of the 12 that are found in Cellgevity that actually help you with that. And that's why I also wanted to elaborate a little bit more about alpha lipoic acid, because there's a reason why these 12 synergistic ingredients are in the product Cellgevity and work in conjunction with and along with ribosine, which is the breakthrough technology that Max International has obviously patented and produced. So humans make, like I said, a small amount of, I'm gonna say ALA or alpha lipoic acid, and in their own concentration, and it basically but is sustainably increased by our healthy diet. So because, like I said, in some cases, or we produce low amounts of it. This is why it's so important that you have a healthy eating plan, because it's basically going to enhance that production. And yes, Winter, we want to reverse the aging process. So part of it is diet and how do we get rid of the oxidative stress, and how do we help our body scavenge out these free radicals that are literally causing us to age, and that means inwardly and outwardly, so when you think about it, you're like, clearly it's a preventative measure that we all have to take and consider when we're looking into factors of how to not take our youth for granted and eat anything we want, but actually think about the healthy eating plans that we need to be doing at a younger age, so that we can ensure that we're actually gonna maintain our production of these master antioxidants that our body produces. So it's actually naturally abundant in foods like green veggies, potatoes, and certain types of yeast. So like brewer's yeast, for example, has an abundant amount of alpha lipoic acid. So obviously I'm not trying to encourage anybody to drink beer or anything like that, but depending on how it's I would say cooked or used as a cooking method, then that's something to consider, maybe as a way to intake it. It can also be taken as a supplement, which is why I'm also bringing it up. You could either take it individually, but there's clearly benefits to taking Cellgevity together with the synergistic ingredients, which is why I'm bringing it up. But I figured let's highlight alpha lipoic acid, because there's many family members that we may know that are suffering from diabetes, and this is a natural way to actually treat the diabetes and level out some of the imbalances that our bodies go through, being that we're dealing with a lot of these health issues that come from the foods that we eat, and sometimes we have to take a look at what we're doing. Hey Ria, thanks for joining. Aaron, Lissy, Circa 95, thanks for also tuning in. I appreciate you. So yeah, you can take it as a supplement, but I mean, honestly, really taking into account how your diet is and how you can remove the oxidative stress, that's obviously the best thing to do. You always want to take the natural approach, and if you are going to take a supplement, let it be something that doesn't work against your body, but works with your body to produce what it needs to get you to that anti-aging removal of the oxidation in your body and all that good stuff. And then basically, so you're like, well, Monique, what the hell is alpha lipoic acid? And I'm gonna say, I'm glad you asked, because that's why we're here. I found that it's basically in your body, right? If we want to summarize it, it's in your body, it's synthesized through plants and animals, and it's present in every cell inside the body and helps glucose into fuel your body to run it and to run off of it. So like basically your body helps produce this, and let me go back up. So it's found in every cell in your body, right? And your body helps turn it into glucose, which in turn actually helps you produce the energy that you need. So therefore, it's so important, right? Because we're all looking fuel ourselves more. We all looking for a pick me up. But if you understand how your body works and what it actually needs to help fuel itself, then this is why this conversation is so important, because then you don't rely on things that are outside of natural things to help you fuel yourself. And so this is, again, going around to the maximize your wellness and what can we do to maximize our wellness. And of course, this conversation is a combination of foods and a supplement that you can take. But honestly, hey Martha, welcome. It's learning the balance of what supplement and what food that you need to take to fuel your body properly. So although we can make it on our own, and by the alpha lipoic acid you can make on your own, but also eating it with antioxidant packed foods that can potentially that use that alpha lipoic acid supplement, or you can basically combine your food and the alpha lipoic supplements to help you produce more of that antioxidant, which is what it's about. That's going to be helping you treat or helping you prevent diabetes, and also help you with the aging process. This is all reasons why it's so important to make sure that you're somehow working this in your diet on a daily basis. Because when you think about it, there's basically studies that have shown that there's so much that we're being inundated with so many metabolic and environmental toxins that are obviously invisible, and we don't know unless we're looking at it under a microscope, and testing our blood every day. And no one obviously is going to test their blood every day to know what's happening inside. And until your body is really at a place where it's can't do it on its own anymore, that's when you start seeing the breakdown. And that's when we get all these illnesses and sicknesses that, like the diabetes, we tend to not be able to fight and overcome. So this is why alpha lipoic acid is so important. So alpha lipoic acid's most valuable role in our body is basically the most unknown, which is fighting the effects of free radicals. And free radicals are actually from oxidative stress, which is what we're talking about. So free radicals are dangerous chemical reaction byproducts that form during the process of oxidation, I should say. So this is why it's imperative that you are detoxing cellularly on a daily basis. So aside from taking a supplement that can help you, but also eating these high antioxidant packed foods, this is the reason why, in order to be able to handle some of these feelings that you may get, or low energy that you may get, it's so important to make sure that you're fueling yourself properly. And alpha lipoic acid is one of the reasons why I keep wanting to bring awareness to longevity and its importance in our daily life. Let's see. So I guess if I had to simplify what I just said, remember that can that I keep mentioning that you forgot outside, or maybe it's a can that hasn't moved and it's just in this one spot, and you keep seeing it, and as time passes it keeps oxidizing and it's turning rusty. Well, that's basically what happens over time to our cells when we're not fueling it with antioxidant packed foods or supplements that can actually help your body produce those natural antioxidants on its own, not something that you are literally putting into your body, but on its own, so that you can detox yourself on a cellular level. So I always try to make it very simple, especially because science is not everybody's favorite subject, and I'm definitely not trying to bore anybody, but it's just really cool if you think about it. Imagine your cell being that can, and the fact that it's exposed to all these elements all the time, but there's nothing that you're actually doing to help that can stay from getting oxidized. And so that's what's basically happening to each and every one of our cells, which causes illnesses and causes aging. So and obviously lack of energy. So this is why I bring it up. And so alpha lipoic acid in our cells is basically converted, which in turn has its protective effects over our cellular reactions. So because it's protective against each of the cells, right? Then this is what's helping you contain, like, or remove, I should say, all those toxins in your body. And that's why it's important to have it at a healthy level. Oxidation takes place in our body over time. So whether it's the normal chemical reaction like eating or moving around, or like I mentioned before, exposure to environmental pollutants and toxins, these are all things that we need to consider when we're like obviously thinking like, man, I don't feel good today for some reason, I'm low energy, and it's most likely because your body's trying to literally fight off all these these free radicals that are invading it. Like, it's a war of cells basically. So certain compounds can become very reactive and damage cells, which is why I always go back to that can example, because that's basically what's happening. It becomes reactive to the elements, therefore it becomes rusty and holy. You see the holes and all that stuff. At times, this causes abnormal cells to grow and multiply, or have other effects like slowing metabolic efficiency. So like if you notice, or maybe haven't noticed, like you're basically causing your body, when you don't detoxify on a regular basis, to develop mutative cells. So obviously that's not the ideal situation, right? You want to be able to remove those toxins so that your body can produce a healthy cell, not mutative, that is going to completely be fully functioning and circulating in your body properly. Irby says, is broccoli antioxidant food? Absolutely. At the beginning, I was mentioning what has and contains, what vegetables, what two of the vegetables contain this particular antioxidant, alpha lipoic acid, and broccoli and spinach are two of the main ones that do. But actually later on, as I continue, I'm going to actually go over a list of things that help you understand what foods to eat. But I kind of wanted to go through the motions of like why alpha lipoic acid is so important. So I was saying, at times this causes abnormal cells. So like the exposure of the elements and the pollutants and the toxins cause abnormal cells that also cause multiple deficient cells to grow, and it slows the metabolic efficiency down of your body. So it's essentially, if you slow down the metabolic efficiency, everything is getting affected. That's like the breakdown that happens slowly. It's like a domino effect. One thing gets affected, and then the other things start breaking down. So it also changes neuron signaling. So when you think about a lot of the family members that we may know, or we may know someone that may be suffering from Alzheimer's, this is part of the reason why like inflammation and toxins are so important to be managed. Like you have to manage them, because if you don't, they clearly cause long-term effects, which we're seeing now more and more of, like with our family members or somebody that we may know that is suffering from these types of diseases. So do you see, this is why it's so essential to get to know our bodies and to understand the direct and indirect causes that are affecting all of us. And this is why this conversation is so important, and this is why I'm sharing this information like that I've studied, also trying to, I can't memorize everything, so I always try to make sure I take notes that are easy to read and help you understand what I've learned, and like how deep it goes to handling and getting a grip on some of the issues that we may have. And alpha lipoic acid has other, like other antioxidants, slows down cellular damage, which is what we're referring to. One of the root causes of diseases like cancer, heart disease, and diabetes. So like when you think about it, a lot of our communities are suffering from these very things, right? Like heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Like a lot of our communities are suffering from these food, like because of these diseases, because of the foods we're eating. So that's why I'm sort of like really scaling back. I really wanted to scale back, because as I mentioned at the beginning, these are conversations that we're not having, and we're just literally just trying to find a cure or a vaccine for something that you can take to help you avoid it. But when you start off and you go back to the basics, right, of what your food is, this is what we're getting to the point of, you know. This is why it's so important, because it all starts with the food. So it works in the body to restore essential vitamin levels such as vitamin E and vitamin C. So like you see how the multifunctions of alpha lipoic acid are. It's a master antioxidant, helps with all these things that I've already mentioned. But now we're discovering, and like through conversation, it restores essential vitamin levels like vitamin E and vitamin C, which are usually the two separate things that we take as a dietary supplement. Like, how many of us can say here that are on this live right now, or maybe watch it later, say, hey, oh yeah, I take vitamin C alone. They only take vitamin C. Or hey, yeah, I only take vitamin E. But here we have an antioxidant like alpha lipoic acid that actually helps to restore those vitamins in our body. And it helps the body digest and utilize carbohydrate molecules while turning them into usable energy. So similar to what it does to the glucose in our body, it also helps it with the carbohydrates in our body to help it flip it into usable energy. So it also works, alpha lipoic acid also works as a synergistic, I should say, with the B vitamin. So as it works with the vitamin E and C, it also works with vitamin B, and it's needed to turn all macronutrients from food into energy. So like, how many of us as runners, like, we're focused on our macronutrients, like the sweet potato and the kale and all that stuff. So like, this is an important and essential antioxidant that we need to sort of flip those into energy. So here's more reasons why it's important to watch what you eat and to really understand like why your body needs these things, right? I also found out that, like, we can't obviously get over our head. Like, I don't want this to get over your head, but to get a little scientific, it is synthesized and bound to protein molecules, making it act as a cofactor for several important mitochondria enzymes. And I bring that up because the mitochondria is where your DNA is held, you know? So if you're not protecting it by something like an antioxidant that's going to help you flush out those toxins, guess what happens? You start compromising it, and it's like a virus that's going to take over your cell. And so this is why it's amazing to understand your body and really respect it, and don't take it for granted, because it is so intelligent and smart. And when you get to know your body more and you get to understand what it is that you need to do on a regular basis, it becomes easy because you understand. And this is why you gotta empower yourself, and this is the purpose for Maximize Your Wellness, because it's all about empowerment and helping you understand, like, look, it's really not that complicated, you know, like, this is how your body works. And yes, the words are a little scary, and I have a hard time sometimes even pronouncing them, but the point is that when you see it and I can give you like an example that can help you visually, that's the power behind it. So alpha lipoic acid is unique because it's both water soluble and fat soluble, unlike other nutrients like vitamin B's, the B vitamins, and or A, C, D, and E. So we all know that both B vitamins and A, C, D, and E are not water soluble, they're fat soluble. So the fact that it's like unique because it's both fat soluble and water soluble is pretty amazing, right? And so this is part of the reason why this particular ingredient was chosen to be in the Cellgevity product, you know, because this is all playing into effects of how your body works, and it's all its synergy. So it can only be properly absorbed with one or the other. So either way, whether it's water soluble or fat soluble, it's gonna be absorbed. Either one. It chooses either one. So it also, this is kind of funny, I always say alpha lipoic acid acts as a heavy metal chaser. And yes, it's running races, but it's invisible. It's an invisible race that you don't see, right? Because it's obviously happening internally. You may see it because we age, or we feel like we don't have that glow, you know, because what's happening inside is only a reflection of what we see. So this is why it's I always say it's like if for the runners out there that are watching this, you know, alpha lipoic acid is that heavy metal chaser. So you want to make sure that it's being consumed regularly, or you're taking a supplement that has it, that can help you get rid of those toxins in your body and chase those heavy metals out. So heavy, you know, binds heavy metals, which are also known as toxins in the body, including mercury and iron and other forms of free radicals that make their way into the bloodstream. So it basically gets those out, it binds them and gets rid of them, basically takes them down. Whatever enters your bloodstream through water, through chemical products, and the food supply, which is what we're discussing here, like all these things that are important, because either way, in some cases we're indirectly or directly dealing with them. This is why, you know, you want to be able to consume the right amounts of alpha lipoic acid, because that's what's going to get these toxins out. That's exactly what you want. So alpha lipoic acid can increase the body's use of a very important antioxidant known as, guess what it is? Glutathione. So I'm sure most of you have already heard me say that word a bunch of times, or, you know, like, what in the world is glutathione? And here we are discussing it again. And it's crazy because even when I was doing the research on this, I was like, wow, look, here it makes total sense, right? Because I'm looking at this alpha lipoic acid, but it works synergistically with the Cellgevity, you know, and the Cellgevity products. So like, here we are, like, wow, learning about what it treats. Treats diabetes. It removes all these toxins from our body, right? And it also helps with a very important antioxidant, which is the master antioxidant of your body, which is glutathione. So it increases the energy metabolism. It's the reason why some of the athletes use the supplement to enhance their physical performance. So like, that's really getting down to the nitty-gritty of all this stuff, you know, and which is why it's important to understand, like, damn, okay, you know, if I basically need to increase my eating of antioxidants, but also maybe consider a supplement that's going to help me produce it. Because you got to think, if you're not a person to normally intake antioxidants and you're not detoxing your cells on a regular basis, right, your body can only handle but so much. So over time, you may be doing good, you may be eating right, but if you're not detoxing on a cellular level, because there are chemicals that are in our air, in our water, in our food supply, then like, what's the next step? What's the next step that you could do to handle the preventative maintenance that you need to have? And that's the key. Like, it's not always about what you eat. It's about also the next step that you take into your preventative maintenance. And obviously, all of us are trying to be preventative, especially now during these times with, you know, the world that we're in right now and all the challenges that we've been having medically, and why it's so important to consider and be open to certain things, because clearly we're undergoing a lot of changes, and even in the food industry and the food supply, you know, like, it's not fair, but there's preventative things that you can do to help you make sure that you handle those detoxes properly. So some of the health benefits that you can obviously, if you research, or since we're part of this conversation right now, some of the health benefits of alpha lipoic acid are, it's an antidote to oxidative stress, which is what we've been talking about, inflammation, which everybody suffers from it. I mean, if you're a runner or you do any workouts, or if you just dealing with life, stress causes inflammation. So why not want to take something that's actually going to help you regulate that inflammation and eliminate that. And as we mentioned in our last talk, my friend Ria jumped on and she said, as a massage therapist, she's been taking Cellgevity, and she's noticed that after like 7 massages, she would go home and her hands were so swollen. And now that she's been taking the supplement and understanding more and more of each of the ingredients that are in it and how it's helping her body, there's been no swelling, you know, and if there has been any swelling, it's been minimal. So there's something to think about, and I really hope that you guys like are listening, and if you have any questions, please let me know, because we're all here to learn and I'm here to share, and I want to make sure that everybody understands like this is a journey, and it's a journey of learning your body and understanding the biochemistry and the biology of yourself. And it is so important, and honestly it's really cool when you think about it, because like nature has provided all these things, and now there's also other things that can help you accelerate and produce things so in your body naturally that can also continue to help you so that you can continue. So as I mentioned, alpha lipoic acid is an antidote to oxidative stress, inflammation. It fights damage, blood cells, brain cells. It fights off the damage that has been done to your brain cells, blood cells, neurons, and organs like heart or liver. So when you think about it, like, wow, this one little ingredient does so much, you know, when obviously taking into effect of either through a supplement or a great eating plan that's like literally antioxidant packed. So it offers numerous benefits throughout the whole body, naturally treating Alzheimer's disease and controlling liver disease. So like, what is it that we're really like mentioning? This is why I'm talking about this, everyone. Like, how many of us have family members that are suffering from Alzheimer's disease or even liver disease? Or you may not have a family member that's suffering from that, but you want to be able to be preventative, right? Because the key is in prevention. And like I said to you, and I've mentioned before, prevention is cheaper than cure, right? Like, nobody wants to be in the hospital and find out what you could do to change your life. Like, if you can do something right now to change or modify, right? Because sometimes drastic changes aren't successful and you end up failing because you're trying to do too much of a drastic change at one time. But this is why this setting is created, so that we can have these chats and learn about it through just conversation. So being low in antioxidants in general can speed up the aging process. So this is also why it's important, because if you're not somebody that generally always maybe eats antioxidant packed foods, that can cause your aging process faster. It results in symptoms like a weakened immune function, decreased muscle mass, cardiovascular problems, and memory problems. And like, I mean, come on, we all have suffered from memory problems. Hey ladies, what's up? Jen, what's up? Sherry, thank you for joining. And my sister Deborah from Brazil, thank you for joining. And Bori Bonnie, I appreciate everybody that's jumped on here. So yeah, I mean, having a low antioxidants in general, that's just gonna speed up your aging process. It's gonna weaken your immune system, decrease your muscle mass, and obviously nobody wants that. Cardiovascular problems, how many of us know a family member or family members that are suffering from these things? Memory problems, like, hello, I mean, we all could get a little help in memory. So, you know, here's the solution to help you, and like basically thinking about ways that you can modify your lifestyle, right? You know, like, it's not about, like I said before, a drastic change. Like, I'm not like, this conversation is not about you gotta change today and do it now. Like, no, you do it when you're ready, and you realize through positive influence and information, which is why I'm sharing this information with you, it helps shift your mindset, and then you understand, like, oh wow, okay, here, it's not that bad actually. I just need to, you know, consider taking a supplement and consider buying some more veggies and fruits so that my body can flush itself out from all these toxins that I'm constantly being inundated with, and I'm not even realizing it, but I'm getting it after a long period of time that I'm realizing, like, oh my God, I've lost my memory, or I don't have the same energy, So my point is you don't want to wait till all these things start compounding to then try to find the solution. The solution is to be preventative and look and understand how your body functions so that you can avoid all of these things. You get me? Eloise, welcome. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. So in your diet, you have to be open to taking supplements, as I mentioned, and honestly, eating the right healthy antioxidant packed foods is what's going to help you feel young and be healthy. So as I mentioned before, alpha lipoic acid actually helps with fights off diabetes and diabetic complications. It protects the cells and the neurons involved in the hormone production. It protects against diabetes, period. So this is why I'm mentioning cell longevity, and one of the synergistic ingredients, alpha lipoic acid, because it all works together. So this is why this conversation is important. But if you just read alpha lipoic acid on a label and you don't do the research, and you may not be having this conversation or be a part of this conversation, then how do you know? You don't know. So that's why I'm here. In a dietary supplement form, it helps to improve insulin sensitivity and also offer to protect against metabolic syndrome. Like, I know, what the hell is metabolic syndrome, Monique? Basically, it's conditions that we all know too familiar, like high blood pressure, cholesterol, and body weight issues are all part of what the metabolic syndrome is called. So if you ever seen that on a medical chart or something like that, it involves dealing with high blood pressure, cholesterol, or body weight issues, which we all are dealing with, right? In some way, somehow, we're all dealing with these issues. So it's not foreign things, but it is preventative. Relieving complications and symptoms of diabetic caused by nerve damage. So, alpha lipoic acid does this. Alpha lipoic relieves these complications how many of us know so many people that suffer from so many complications from having diabetes, and it's really difficult to sort of overcome, because it's such a hard, it's like the stress of having diabetes, and then also the stress of just dealing with the changes that person has to deal with, life changes, I should say, is overwhelming. So just imagine. It helps with numbness of the legs and arms, which tends to happen to some of us, cardiovascular problems, eye-related disorders, pain, swelling. It actually preserves eye health. Once again, it's the good and bad friend, right? Oxidative stress, we all know that guy, and we don't want him around. But it can damage nerves and in the eyes and cause vision problems. So this is what not having enough antioxidants in your body can cause you over time. And so this is why it's essential to keep this in mind and know that, damn, I gotta switch my diet up. So specifically people with diabetes and older adults, it affects the eye situations with. It's used successfully to control symptoms of eye-related disorders, so vision loss or retina damage, glaucoma or cataracts. All these things are part of what it helps successfully control the symptoms of. So just imagine if you have something that is going to help you synergistically, and also considering different foods that you need to eat. And I challenge people, I really want to challenge everybody that's on here and that may not be on here right now, but really maybe watching this a little later, and just really think about what is it that your ancestors ate? Have you had a conversation with your family members, or just curious, hey, my family came from here, but what did our ancestors eat? And really think about that, and think about how you can modify your diet based off of what your ancestors ate, because I'm pretty sure it's very different to what we are eating, which can also help you identify like how to prevent some of these illnesses and diseases that we're suffering from as a community. So I challenge everybody to think about that as we're, having this conversation, and, getting over the fact that I keep mentioning alpha lipoic acid. It's deeper than alpha lipoic acid. It's actually about you and about your body, and understanding and challenging you to know, like, how could I get to know myself more? How do I get to know my family more, and what my family ate and did in those times? Because it doesn't mean just because it was in those times doesn't mean that your blood is different. Your blood is the same, so what is it that you need to help your body be able to avoid the disease and prevent the disease? This is why we're here. Nutrient dense diet, like well before old age, can help prevent overall degeneration of the normal body. So like, this is why it's not worth taking it for granted, you being at a young age and saying, yeah, I could do whatever I want and eat whatever I want, because guess what? Yeah, you probably get away with it when you're younger, but as you get older, you're gonna see the effects of that, and it's gonna be painful, because it's like anything, you have to take care of yourself. They ate a lot of verduras. Exactly, Irby. They did because they ate everything that they grew, especially like if you're from the islands, for example, like you went to the backyard and you picked whatever that you had, like if it was an avocado, or if it was a plátano, or whatever other verduras that were growing wildly around, or maybe even some things that they grew naturally, that they've planted. So you got to think, like, this is all the things that are not foreign to our body, but is foreign to what we know. And so now it's like, how do we flip that? How do we flip what we know mentally versus what our body knows intuitively? So that's the switch that my intention here is trying to make, because we have to get connected. And the best way to get connected is through our food, because we know exactly what we don't like and what we do like. And if there's something that attracts you, and you may not have ever tried it, it's for a reason. Intuition, your intuition is so powerful, it's so powerful. So alpha lipoic acid also helps prevent memory loss and cognitive decline. And as I was mentioning before, nutrient dense foods with various colorful brain foods help protect memory. So like we were talking about memory loss before, and how obviously we can all preserve our memory, right? Somehow we all want to try to preserve that thing. So alpha lipoic acid, or eating foods that contain alpha lipoic acid, can actually help assist you with your helping you with your memory loss. It prevents neuron damage, motor impairment, and also it changes in cognitive function because of the antioxidant activity. So here we are trying to figure out, like, hey, how do I improve all these things that I'm afraid of? Because, oh my God, my grandparent has Alzheimer's or dementia. Now, if you increase your antioxidant levels in your body, hey Damo, how are you? If you increase the antioxidants in your body, then that antioxidant activity is only going to help you remove those toxins that cause those illnesses, and therefore, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to have those issues. You're going to be in the road of prevention versus in the road of cause, right? So the way it works is the alpha lipoic acid makes its way into the brain, passing through the blood-brain barrier, and that's where it's basically a delicate. That part of it is protected by the brain, and that protects the nerve tissues. So like passing through that brain blood barrier is what helps protect those very, very sensitive motor cognitive neurons that are helping you keep your brain healthy. It also prevents strokes and other brain problems, including dementia in older adults. So like going back to that, what I just mentioned a few seconds ago, like the dementia and the Alzheimer's and any sort of brain problem or strokes, because we're dealing with high blood pressure, as we were talking about before, here's something that can help you, assist you with that, you know. And if it means just, like I said, taking a supplement that has it, that can help you, and or understanding or getting to know a supplement better that can help you, like Cellgevity, or maybe considering, hey, I just need to eat more of these things if you're, you know, maybe turned off about the supplement side of things. As mentioned, it also helps boost glutathione, which is the master antioxidant in the body. It's crucial for immunity, crucial for cellular health, and disease prevention. So you see where I'm getting with this? You know, there's a reason why all these things are being stated, and it's because if all these things are going to help you prevent the biggest things that are causing us to be stressed out right now, you know, because we are like under so much pressures of this virus and everything like that. Like, this is why it's so important to be preventative and to find out things that are preventative and the little modifications that you can make on your lifestyle to help you. Alpha lipoic acid ability to increase glutathione to regulate the body's immune response and fight off diseases like diabetes or even HIV/AIDS. So when you think about it, you're like, wow, you know, all I have to do is help my body increase its glutathione levels and all the antioxidants in it that it already produces, and it helps my body immune response. Like, come on, like, you see what I mean? Like, this is exactly why I keep pushing these things, and I want people to understand, because if you are able to get your body up to where it needs to be, then your body in its alone can help prevent certain things from happening. So, you know, keep that in mind. It has the ability to increase the glutathione, to regulate the body's immune response, and fight off diseases like diabetes and even HIV/AIDS. Like, how many of us actually lost family members through HIV/AIDS? You know, like, it's a problem. So supplementation with alpha lipoic acid seems positively impacting patients' immune deficiency syndromes and also serious viruses by restoring blood total glutathione levels and improving reactivity of cells. So going back to what I was circling into, like, what are most of us deficient in some cases? Our immune system. What are we trying to fight in some cases? These viruses, other than even the one that we're dealing with right now. But the only way to help us do that is by restoring those levels, restoring those healthy levels of glutathione in our body to help us preventatively fight these things off, you know. And you don't have to take anything outside of what your body already produces, which is the key, right? It actually protects your skin from damage. So if you have any physical signs of aging, you know, it's like you can actually help prevent that by taking something like alpha lipoic acid or something that contains alpha lipoic acid, as Cellgevity does, to help you reduce those lines that may be caused by like exposure to the sun. You know, if you're in a tropical place or in a warm place that is mostly sunny all the time. So skin damage is one of the side effects of high amounts of free radicals, and those free radicals are those scavengers that the antioxidants are trying to hunt down so that it can get rid of the toxins, which are like the heavy metals in our body. So if what we can do to help get rid of those is basically increasing our levels of antioxidants in our body. So this is why I'm keep repeating myself, and I'm sorry if I'm driving anyone crazy here, but this is why antioxidant packed foods and veggies are so important in our daily eating plan and our overall lifestyle, because if you can help do all of these things and make sure you're flushing these toxins out, it's only gonna help you boost your immune system and any sort of deficiency that you may have that could potentially in the future cause illnesses or disease. The best sources of alpha lipoic acid. I told you guys I promised that I would get to this point, and I know it took me some time to get here, but I really wanted to make sure I share with everybody like how important it is to know your body. So it can be found in different plants and animal sources, such as broccoli and spinach, as I mentioned before. And I just want to say, hey, Katie, Karen, and Andrew. What's up, Drew? Thank you for tuning in. So broccoli and spinach, right? And also red meat. So for any of the meat eaters out here, alpha lipoic acid can be found in red meat. Organ meat, such as liver, hearts, kidneys from beef or chicken, also contain alpha lipoic acid. Brussels sprouts, tomatoes, peas, brewer's yeast, as I mentioned before. So obviously beer is one of those things that the beer or brewer's yeast contain alpha lipoic acid. Beets and carrots, all these things contain alpha lipoic acid, which can obviously help you increase that antioxidant in your body to help you prevent all of these diabetes, loss of eyesight, and all these other things that I mentioned before. So honestly, like, the dosage is simple. You can either take it as a supplement along with the food you eat, or you can just focus on eating anti-packed foods. Drew puts a whole bunch of beer because he works at a brewery. Yes, you already know the truth about brewer's yeast. So yeah, I mean, remember, taking more of something, like loading yourself up with a bunch of veggies and fruits, is not always gonna offer the best results. So you have to be gentle with yourself, and remember that, you know, some of the other topics that we've discussed, like intuitive eating and the elimination diet, is only to help guide you through your wellness journey. And I feel like that's really what this is about. This is about your wellness journey. How can you educate yourself on all these things that we're not taught, that they don't tell us, right? That our body, if with a little push and assistance, naturally can help bounce back into removing these mutative cells, removing this oxidative stress and these free radicals that essentially over time are causing you all these diseases and illnesses, you know. So I encourage everybody to challenge me, you know, hit me up, call me. Like, there's a reason why I'm being like bold right now and like really wanting to share what I've been using to help me be preventative and not have like any sort of, thank God, any illnesses or diseases that like right now that I have to deal with. And it's because I've done the research and I've considered, aside from eating well and eating like all these antioxidant packed foods, I'm also taking a supplement that's going to help me on a cellular level detox, you know, all these toxins that are coming in from the water, from the food supply, from the air I'm breathing, you know. Like, it's overwhelming. So I have 5 minutes left, and I hope that I haven't bored you to death. And I really hope that something changed for you today, and you really take into account of everything that I've mentioned and the amazing body that you have, and really appreciating your body and taking time to understand your body and learn about your body. And I'm not sure if anybody has any questions, but I would like to leave the last few minutes that we have to talk about it if anybody does have any questions. But if no one does have any questions, I just want to continue to encourage you. You know, let's have these conversations. Let's understand what our ancestors ate and understand why they ate those things, because that's the same blood that's running through your veins, you know. And this is why we have to be preventative, and this is why we need to consider, like, damn, what's this food pyramid that I'm following, you know? Like, what am I following? How can I modify that and kind of scale back and see what my family ate, and it is, how is that going to benefit, you know, my health and my longevity. So I say that with all the love in my heart, and I really hope that people really sit back and think about how they can change and what they can like modify for the better in their diet and in their lifestyle, because honestly, it's an epidemic. High blood pressure is an epidemic. High cholesterol is an epidemic within our communities. Diabetes, especially cancer, like all these things are caused by, you know, the food we're eating, because it's clearly a bad chemical reaction to our body, and that is what's causing all these illnesses and diseases. Even like when it comes to the dementia and the Alzheimer's, like all these things can be preventative, you know, if you understood what your body is, what it needs, and instead of like eating something that's gonna fight against your body and is actually gonna help you digest it, you know, that's what you need to do. So I look forward to continuing to have these conversations. I want people to challenge like what they've been eating, you know, and really do the homework from wherever you are, wherever you tune in the world. Figure out what your ancestors were doing, and really be open to considering taking a supplement. And if you have any questions about that, you can contact me, because like I said, I've been too quiet for too long, and I've had this knowledge for like 5 years now, and I've just always been afraid of sharing, you know, because of the judgment or just silly things, when at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is your wellness, which is the purpose of Maximize Your Wellness. You know, it's not just about food, it's not only about a supplement, you know, but it's also about how can we get you to be preventative, how can we get you to be, you know, back to your roots and understand why is it that you need to eat certain things, and why is it that you can't eat other things, you know. And if you notice, hey, certain things make me feel weird, but they're told to be healthy, but that doesn't mean that because it's healthy, it's good for you and your blood type and all these things, going back into some of the previous conversations that I've had, either, you know, with you, right, or with Chef Sia or Tara. So I encourage everybody on this Friday night to dig a little deeper, all right? Like, get to know yourself a little bit more and understand your body more, you know, really tune out and tune in, so that we could get y'all healthy, and, you know, we could all be on a better road to wellness, right? Because it starts from the inside first. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in with me tonight. It means so much to me, everybody that was here, in and out. And I just want to thank everyone in advance that will watch this after this is recorded. And peace and love, everybody. Happy Friday, okay? Stay blessed. Peace and love.